Lynn had always been the responsible one, the one who held the family together, the one who worked 2 jobs to make sure everyone survived. And Rachel? Rachel was the beautiful one, the promising one, the one people praised for her charm, but never noticed the poison behind her smile. Growing up, Lynn saw Rachel manipulate teachers, lie without blinking, and twist stories so well that people ended up apologizing to her for things she did wrong. Their mother always said, "Rachel just needs love. Lynn, guide your sister." And Lynn guided her, even when it hurt. So when Rachel finished secondary school and wanted to join university, Lynn stepped in. She paid the tuition, paid for hostel, paid for upkeep, paid even when she barely had enough for herself. Rachel would call every month, "Lynn, please help me, I'll make you proud." Lynn believed her. She wanted to believe her. Meanwhile, Lynn was married to David, the kind of man everyone in the village admired. Soft-spoken, respectful, always smiling. But behind closed doors, he drained Lynn silently. He didn't work much, didn't pay bills, didn't buy food. But he always had his phone fully charged to take selfies and post quotes like, "A real man supports his woman." Meanwhile, Lynn was the one supporting him. Still, Lynn believed her sacrifices would pay off. She believed her marriage would get better. She believed Rachel would graduate and lift the family. She believed until Lynn started receiving calls from Rachel's school demanding fees she had already paid. When she confronted Rachel, she would cry dramatically, "Lynn, you want them to embarrass me? You think I'm lying? Why are you always attacking me?" And Lynn, soft-hearted, would apologize and send more money. But one day she met a lecturer during a work errand. When Lynn mentioned Rachel's name, the woman frowned. "Rachel? That girl who barely attends lectures." Lynn felt her stomach drop. Barely attends? Rachel claimed she spent every day studying. The lecturer continued, "She's always seen with some older men. I hope she doesn't waste her future." Lynn walked away with shaky legs, but she still didn't want to believe it. Until something even worse began happening at home. David started acting strange, hiding his phone, smiling at messages at midnight, wearing cologne to go and buy airtime. Lynn was suspicious, but tired. She worked too hard to chase shadows. But Rachel, who was supposed to be at school, started visiting home more often. Too often, always finding reasons to stay the night. "She's my sister," Lynn told herself. "What harm can she do?" One afternoon, Lynn returned from work earlier than usual. The house was quiet, too quiet. David's slippers were at the door. Rachel's bag was on the couch. The bedroom door was slightly open. She pushed it gently, and the world fell apart. Rachel on her marital bed, David beside her, both shocked, half naked, scrambling like teenagers caught stealing. Lynn froze. Her mind went blank, her heart tearing itself apart. Rachel sneered instead of apologizing. "You think you're better than me. At least he treats me like a woman." Lynn staggered back, tears burning. David tried to talk. "Baby, it's not what you think." Rachel laughed. "Oh, please, you've been feeding him since you married him. I'm just giving him what he's missing." The arrogance, the wickedness, the betrayal. Lynn left the house, shaking, unsure if she could even breathe. But life wasn't finished revealing the truth yet. 2 days later, Lynn received a call from Rachel's university. "Madam, are you still sponsoring Rachel?" "Yes." The voice sighed. "Madam, Rachel dropped out last year. She hasn't stepped in class for months." The ground shifted beneath Lynn. Dropped out? Where had all the money been going? As if the universe wanted her to know everything, the school administrator leaned closer to the phone. "And someone sent us screenshots. Rachel has been telling people you're a wicked sister, that you never supported her, that you used her as your housemaid." Lynn felt a coldness spread through her chest. She said what? She said you're jealous of her beauty, that you hate her, and that's why you refuse to pay her tuition. Lynn returned home with a calmness so dangerous it could silence fire. Rachel was sitting in the living room, eating Lynn's leftovers like she owned the house. David was beside her, pretending to scroll on his phone. Lynn placed her bag down slowly. "Rachel," she said, "pack your things." Rachel smirked. "Why? Afraid I'll take your husband again?" Lynn didn't shout, didn't cry. Instead, she placed printed documents on the table, university records, screenshots, and witness statements. Then she locked eyes with Rachel. "You lied about school. You lied about me. You stole from me. You betrayed me. You slept with my husband, and you tried to destroy my name." Rachel's face went pale for the first time. David started stammering. "Baby, I can explain." Lynn raised a hand to silence him. "No need. Pack your bags too." David blinked. "What?" "You heard me. But where will I go?" "That's not my concern," Lynn said coldly. "From today, I stop feeding grown adults." Rachel stood up in shock. "You can't chase me. I'm your sister." Lynn looked at her with the strength of a woman who finally saw her worth. "You're my blood, but you're also my biggest wound, and today I choose healing." Rachel tried to speak, but Lynn had already opened the door. Both of them left. Their cries, excuses, threats, none of it moved her. For the first time in years, Lynn felt something powerful. Months passed. Lynn focused on herself. Her job improved. She opened a small baking business. She healed. One morning, she received a message from Rachel. "Help me, please. I have nothing." Lynn stared at the message, then switched off her phone. She owed Rachel nothing. Later, she heard David was struggling too, moving from friend to friend, begging for survival. Lynn simply whispered, "Sometimes God removes people because they were blocking your blessing." Kicking Rachel and David out should have been the end. But wicked people rarely leave quietly. For weeks, Lynn tried to rebuild her life, quietly, peacefully. She learned to wake up without fear, without tears, without wondering whose lie she was funding next. Her small baking business began to grow. People started to respect her strength. But wickedness always fights back when it realizes it lost its grip. And Rachel? Rachel was the type of person whose pride couldn't accept defeat, not from Lynn. It began with whispers in the village. "Have you heard? Lynn's marriage failed because she couldn't satisfy her husband." "I heard she mistreated her own sister." "I heard she bewitched them." The rumors spread like wildfire. Lynn kept quiet, until one morning she overheard market women discussing her like she was a news headline. "She looks innocent, but those are the dangerous ones," one woman said. "That girl's heart is too dark," another murmured. Lynn stepped closer. "Who told you all that?" The women exchanged looks. "Rachel," they said. Lynn's chest tightened. Yes, Rachel was back in the village, and she came with vengeance. One evening, Lynn heard a soft knock on her door. She expected a customer. It was David, but not the confident, well-groomed David she once knew. No. He looked like a broken version of himself, clothes dirty, beard overgrown, eyes swollen from crying. "Lynn, please, help me," he whispered. Lynn didn't speak. David fell to his knees and burst into tears. "She ruined my life. Rachel ruined everything." Lynn stepped back. "What are you doing here?" "Take you back?" she repeated. "After everything?" David crawled closer. "I was weak, Lynn. I was stupid. She used me. Please, I have nowhere to go." Before Lynn could respond, a stone suddenly hit her metal gate with a loud clang, followed by a female voice screaming from outside, "Lynn, Come out and face me. It was Rachel. Drunk, wild, unhinged. David stood up, terrified. She's been following me, he whispered. She said if she can't have me, no one can. The danger in his voice was real. Lynn walked outside slowly. She found Rachel standing in the middle of the road, barefoot, holding a broken bottle, her eyes red with madness. You took him from me, Rachel screamed. Lynn blinked. Rachel, you stole my husband. Oh, please, Rachel hissed. You never deserved him. You never deserved anything. Everything I took from you, I earned it. Lynn's voice chilled. You earned nothing but shame. Rachel lunged toward her with the bottle. David rushed forward and grabbed Rachel's arm. Rachel, stop! She turned and slashed his arm. David screamed, blood dripping. Then Rachel pointed the bottle at Lynn again. You think you won? Just watch. Neighbors began coming out of their houses, shouting for help. Rachel was dragged away by 3 men, screaming Lynn's name like a curse. Lynn stood frozen, shaking, not from fear, but from a deep, deep disappointment. How could her own sister become this monster? The next day, Lynn received a call from Rachel's old landlord. Madam Lynn, we found something in Rachel's old room. What is it? You need to come. Lynn went there immediately. The landlord handed her a small box wrapped in a black cloth. We found this hidden under her bed, he said. Lynn opened it slowly. What she saw made her knees weaken. Inside were Lynn's passport photocopy, her signature forgery sheets, a pregnancy test kit, bank slips in Lynn's name. And the worst, a handwritten note. Lynn unfolded it with trembling hands. It read, Goal, take everything she has. Take her husband, take her future, take her peace. She always acted superior. Now she will learn pain. Rachel. The room spun. Lynn dropped the paper. Everything finally made sense. The lies, the manipulation, the jealousy, the cruelty. This wasn't random. This wasn't accidental. This was a planned destruction. Rachel had hated her for years. Rachel smirked weakly. It was supposed to, but somehow you still stood. Lynn felt tears rise, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of release. You destroyed yourself trying to destroy me, Lynn said quietly. And you? Rachel sneered. What will you do? Forgive me? Lynn looked at her deeply. No, Rachel, I'm not God. I'm not a saint, but I'm done letting you win. She stood up. This will be the last time I ever speak to you. You're free to hate me, but I won't hate myself because of you anymore. Rachel looked away, because even she knew this was the end. Months later, Lynn's business had expanded into a shop. People who once whispered now came to apologize. David tried again to beg for forgiveness. Lynn politely closed the door in his face. Rachel left the village completely. Some say she ran away after her debts piled up, but Lynn? Lynn rose, stronger, wiser, unshakable. And that is when Lynn finally understood. Winning isn't about revenge. Winning is becoming everything your enemies never wanted you to be.